That's how it works. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome once again to the Paranormal Portal. I'm your host. I'm your host. Brent Thomas, thanks for being here, everybody. Happy day after the 4th of July, but it's still a holiday weekend, so I think it counts as the 4th all the way through. I think it's all ours. Gotta make sure my levels are right there. Hopefully you guys are doing wonderful, though. Having a great weekend. Hope you had a great 4th. I posted some fireworks just in case you didn't get out and see any. I brought them to you, so that's on the YouTube channel, at least for now. I haven't uploaded it anywhere else, but I'm kind of out of breath because I was sitting here and I'm grinding everything away, doing the intro and stuff. I'm like, yeah, everything's ready. Then I'm like, oh God, I got to use the bathroom. So I ran out and used the bathroom, and then on the way back, I'm like, oh, I don't have anything to drink. So I grabbed a water. So I'm a little winded, a little stress winded, but that's okay. Let's see. We got a lot to get through tonight. It's the last show of the week, obviously. Saturday nights are where we kind of call it quits for the week, and then there's a few days off, and then we come back on Wednesday. And this Wednesday, I'll be welcoming a guest to the show, and this is a longtime friend of mine. He's a fellow podcaster and a great guy. His name is Shane Groves, and he is part of the team that created From the Shadows podcast. So Shane's going to be here with me on Wednesday, and we're going to go through the evening talking about his show, what they've been covering, and some of his great moments, and it should be a good time. So if you're not familiar with From the Shadows podcast, by God, on Wednesday, you will be. And they got a YouTube channel as well, so be sure to go over and check that out and subscribe as well. He's a great guy. He's been a longtime friend, and yeah, absolutely. We've kind of traded shows back and forth. You know, like I'll appear in his show, he'll be on mine, and he's been a guest on the podcast a few times, so it's a good time. I spent the first 3 hours sleeping next to Seamus Dog Kennel, keeping him calm as I could. He was hysterical. The other 3 were nervous, but not complete wrecks like he was. Yeah, some dogs do not handle the fireworks very well, and that's, you know, I understand. It's scary for them if they're not used to loud sounds and noises. Yeah, it's tough, but yeah, I don't know. Yeah, Stella did great, my dog. So that was cool. I got a message. Okay. I'll have to deal with that later because we're live. I don't have time for texting right now. But we obviously have a lot to get to tonight. We're going to be getting to the news here momentarily. And then we're going to get to the Discord question of the week. And then we're going to get to what the hell is that? Probably a little bit of an article we've been covering. And then the Crypted Corner. And wherever we get, it's mostly guidelines when I talk about things we're going to do. It's mostly guidelines. I don't have anything we have to do. Hello, Isaac Ariola. Good to see you. Barbara Mora is over on Rumble with me. And let's see who's all here. Isaac is here. T-Bone is here. Over on the YouTubes, Karen Alberding, Bogart, Poncho Zorch, Jem Gwyn, and John Temprin are here. And Kirsten. We got both Isaac and Kirsten. And I'm here to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, if you don't know, of course, Isaac and Kirsten met right here on the portal. I'm a bit of a matchmaker, but they have since joined ways and are expecting their first baby together. So that's baby Ethan. Anytime, folks. Little Ethan could be joining us. The first portal baby that I know of. So that sounds terrible. Not like I'm sleeping around and making portal babies. That's not what I meant. But anyway, yep, little baby Ethan will be joining us, and I can't wait. That's so sweet. And when he's born, we're gonna have to send him a little Paranormal Portal onesie. So waiting for that to happen. Thank you, Uncle Brent. Isaac, thank you, brother. Absolutely, that's a portal baby right there. I'm really excited. So looking forward to that. We'll be waiting for that news. And should they send me a message saying, hey, guess what? I will let you guys know. So watch social media, and you can, of course, friend Isaac and Kirsten yourself on Facebook if you choose. And then you'll know as soon as I know, probably. Unless they message me first, which is, kind of cool. Kind of the uncle thing, being family and all. But I'll let you guys know as soon as I know. I'm really excited for that. And congratulations. I'm glad everything's going well. And let's see, where was it? Oh, roll call. Yeah. Going through the roll. Here we go. Gemgwin is here, and Rachel gets it right. John Stevenson and Temperin are here, so the Johns are represented. Owl is here. Good to see Owl. She was, I think, the first one in tonight. So it was great way to start, of course, with our very own Owl 13. Who else? Paula, good evening to you. Thank you for coming in. That's a new name. Welcome to the show. Hopefully you like it and decide to become part of our family. Just subscribe and hit that like and and let everybody know about the show. That'd be great. All right. Who else is here? I'm going through the names. Just waiting. T-Bone's here, of course. T-Bone. Great to see you as always. Bogart, I said Poncho Zorch is here. And just looking for names I have not said. I try to make it compelling as I'm scrolling through the list here, but I think that might be it. Deborah Neighbors is in here. Good to see you, Deborah. Thank you for coming in, as always. And Kirsten, you remembered. God bless you. Kirsten remembered. How could she forget? And let's see. Have I missed anybody? Dale Atkinson is here. Good to see you, Dale. Thanks for coming in tonight and being a part of the show. I really appreciate that. Hello, Friend is here. Still love that name. That's just great. Hello, Friend. Nice to see you, Friend. I like that. That's just really gets to the heart of it. We're all friends here in the portal, so why not? I think that might be everyone. Oh, Annie Manula, of course, is here. Hello, Annie. Good to see you. You were one of the first ones in, as a matter of fact. Yeah, I had Owl up first, and then Annie Manula came in, and then Rachel. So looks like that was the top three tonight, ladies and gentlemen. I'm kind of stealing that line from from Dave Scott. The race in the door was taken by Owl 13 tonight, ladies and gentlemen, in the winner's circle. But a lot of close seconds. So, and I don't know who. Oh, Philip Blair came in. Good to see you, Kitty Caddywhack. Hello, 420 all day, every day. I'm just kidding. Homer voice cracks me up. Oh, yeah, I throw it out there. Probably too much, but it's one of the only things I'm good at. So why not? Why not? It works for them. Might as well use it for me. But yeah, so I guess I don't know what else to say. Was there anything else I wanted to say? I think that might be it. I think that's everything I wanted to talk about before we launched, and right on the front end here. So, yeah, everyday puff. What are you, a dragon? All right. So we're going to get to the news, I guess, to start out the events of the night. And my youngest did a great Beavis. Yeah. I used to do Beavis and Butthead years and years ago, but then everybody kind of forgot who they were. So it just kind of, I used to do a really good Pee Wee Herman too, but I'd have to practice that a lot, and it gets really loud, so it's not like I can do it right into a microphone. There was one time where you remember the old answering machines, everybody had them, and you'd record a message. Well, I did a message with like Pee Wee Herman, I don't know, Homer Simpson. I did a whole bunch of impressions through the whole thing, and then what happened was, I honest to God, hand to God, I don't like talking on the phone. I don't even like getting phone calls. I find them very disruptive. It's just my own quirk. I don't know. I'm such a hermit, but I did this message. Well, then people I knew heard it, and they started telling everybody they knew to call and listen to it. And so I was getting calls all the time. It was like, oh no, this is not what I wanted. So I had to change the message. But anyway, do you do Benny Hill? I don't know. Not really. I don't know if anybody does Benny Hill. It wasn't really an impression. It was more, Benny Hill was more physical comedy than it was impressions. And I mean, he did voices per se, but they were more character voices of people he was playing. I don't do any Benny Hill impression, no. So anyway, Pee Wee did get a bad rap. Yeah, I mean, probably wasn't the best decision he could have made. If you know, you know. But it was probably like he probably should have got an award for bad timing on that one. It's like You go into an adult theater and you just decide that's where you're going to rub one out. Yeah, not the best and brightest move you could have made. Just wait till you get home. I don't know. Anyway, that's just the way it rolls. Anyway, he did so sad, Pee-wee. He did so sad, Pee-wee. Yeah. I tried that once, Brent. Everybody hung up. Well, the people you don't want to talk to hang up right away. Like, I don't think I got any spam calls during that time. And that was, back with answering machines. Hey, is your car warranty okay? It's like, God bless it. So anyway, there we go. Let's, that's why the floor is sticky. That's just it doesn't take us long to hit the gutter around here. I mean, we can do it in probably the first minute flat if we really worked at it, but we always end up there somewhere. All right. As Sheldon said, somewhere along the line, poop or butts come into play. And I don't know why. Anyway, let's get to the news and find out. Hi, Carol Pack. Good to see you. Thanks for coming in and being here, of course. It's nice. That's a new name, right? Carol Pack. I don't think I've ever seen you here before, Carol, so welcome. 1990s were tough. You're right, Phil. They were. But they were also a blast. I had a lot of fun in the 90s. Not a lot. Well, no, there was a lot of personal up and downs in the 90s for me, but some epic moments, some not so epic, but a lot of them were, maybe not making the best choices for myself. Not like I was, doing time or anything like that or got in trouble, but it's just, mostly relationship issues. But anyway, yeah, I remember that one, 420. I remember that one. Okay, so let's get to the news, and then we'll see what's going on in the world around us because, well, can't live in a portal all day long. So let's go check out the news, ladies and gentlemen. It's time for the news. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for the news. And it's just me tonight, by the way. I forgot to tell you that. Tex couldn't make it tonight. He's got to punch the clock, so we'll miss him, of course. But I did offer it to Sheldon, but he already had plans. So it's just you guys and me. You guys are my co-host tonight, so should I let him out? So if you want to get my attention, probably the best way is to put your chat in all capital letters. That's the best shot you got to get my attention, but I will do my best to keep an eye on it as I'm able, which is varying degrees of success as I'm able. Sometimes I'm better at it than others, but at any rate, somebody said something in the chat I was going to talk about. Hey, Josh Casto, good to see you, brother. Welcome aboard. Gemgwin is here. Carol Pack. Yeah, I was after Carol, but what did I miss? Or what was I going to say? I forgot. It's gone. My old brain. All right, so here's the news, ladies and gentlemen. Always throughout the course of the show, we utilize a lot of different sites. Please give them your love. Please give them your attention. Visit these sites. These sites are incredibly well done. They are really impressively managed and updated and current and very, very well laid out. I know you guys are going to love these sites because you love the paranormal, which, okay, I got to address this. This is kind of the big elephant in the room. I'm so tired of people equating paranormal with ghosts. Like, that's just it. This is paranormal. No, paranormal means not normal. I mean, and that's all of this stuff, whether it's cryptozoology, whether it's UFOs, whether it's strange phenomena, and yes, whether it's ghosts. So the paranormal is this huge umbrella. It's not just ghosts. Okay, so spread the word. Help me redefine that. Because it's somehow become paranormal investigating is ghost investigating. Well, no, it's not. So I got it off my chest. I feel better for what it's worth, but all right. So here we go. This is the first article we're going to get into tonight. And this is coming from an amazing site. We've used every news forever, I think, for at least a long time. I do capitals because my eyes too bloodshot to see. Well, yeah, maybe. I don't know what to tell you, brother. All right, here we go from Science and Technology of unexplained-mysteries.com, an exceptionally well done site. There's so much information over here. Could we one day upload memories from a dead brain to a computer? I am Mike Prine. What is normal? I don't even know, but I know the paranormal more than I know normal. Put it that way. This is kind of I don't know. It's one of those things. I've often thought what a shame it is that there's so many brilliant people that have lived in our world. They've shared our space. They've revolutionized ideas, and they've contemplated some of the great questions, and they've come up with some incredible answers and ideas. And it seems a shame that whatever lied in their heads was gone as soon as they were. And so I do understand. I think it's kind of morbid, the idea of, well, he's dead, let's plug him in and see what he knew. It's kind of a dark thought, really. It's like, well, you should be entitled to whatever's in your head. If you didn't choose to share it, that's your choice. But at the same time, what was going to be shared but didn't get shared due to any number of circumstances that were beyond our control, and these brilliant minds and ideas were taken before they were given. And so I think that there is merit in it, but it is kind of like, it's kind of like akin to the Frankenstein monster. It's like, yeah, that's kind of creepy. And God only knows what that means. If there's any other ramifications, I don't know, but it just seems morbid, but it may be a good thing. I don't know what do you guys think, but let's read the article and see what they're talking about a little more. It says neuroscientists were asked to offer their thoughts on this possibility as part of a recent study. I wonder how long this one is. Not too long at all. Okay. While most experts would agree that the idea of uploading a person's consciousness to a computer remains very much in the realm of science fiction, the idea of recovering someone's memories so that they could be played back on computer might actually have some merit. All right, that's really disturbing me. Even so, it seems that neuroscientists are very much divided on when, how, or if this can be done. According to a recent study, 40% of neuroscientists believe that it will one day be possible to emulate a human brain, and 70% believe that memory has a physical basis. That said, however, the study authors concluded that there was no clear consensus on exactly which neurophysiological feature or scale is critical for memory storage. This means that nobody is quite sure how one would go about extracting memories from a physically preserved brain, or how to convert them into viewable format on a computer. Another question posed by the researchers was whether it was theoretically possible to preserve a brain using existing tools and technologies so that memories can be extracted from it at a later date. Around 40% of neuroscientists said that it is likely possible to accomplish this. There's a substantial chunk of neuroscientists who think it's a very real chance that it will work, and my guess is that actually a number will creep up over time as we get better at doing these brain implants, emulations, and other things. Study leader and neuroscientist Ariel Zaleznikow Johnston. How'd you get to Zaleznikow Johnston? I guess it's a married hyphenated name. Told IFL Science. One question that wasn't covered is whether or not we actually should be doing something like this, or should try to do something like this. Imagine a future in which someone's life memories could be extracted after their death. Yeah, that feels wrong. That feels like weirdly, perversely voyeuristic in a sense, you know? Would this be beneficial to society or the ultimate invasion of privacy? Yeah, I kind of think the latter. Clearly, it would raise a lot of concerns and issues. So, chat poll time. Are you guys ready? Chat poll. Yes, we should develop this technology. It can be a greater good for everybody, or zero. That's creepy as hell. Let's leave it alone. What do you think? I want to see what you guys have to say, because I'm kind of torn on this. I can see the merit, but at the same time, I don't know. There should be a filter on what they can access. What if they could access your most private thoughts? You know, I mean, like, we're all creepy sometimes. We're all idiots sometimes. If you watch this show, I'm an idiot most of the time. But all right, so we got a lot of no's. John Stevenson, Chucky, Paula, Phil Funk, 420, hell no. Cat Doherty, no. T-Bone, no. Absolutely no from Jenguin. Barbara, no. Yeah, but she says, but it'll be developed anyway. Jemgun, absolutely no. Kirsten Leah, no. Black male economy. Yeah, that's true. Yes, I want to know if my cat remembers. Probably where the litter box is. Mike Prine says, yeah, do it. Okay. Fair enough. We got one yes. Mike, are you just being contrary, or is that what you really think? I'm just curious. Dale Atkinson, nope. I'm an idiot all the time. Me too. Matt Tyrrell, no. T-Bone, Yeshua. The ancient name of the Christ, eh? Right. Yeah. I mean, there are some things that would be great to be able to recall and to save, but I just can't see that somebody having arbitrary access to your life experience would be beneficial, or even right or moral to download. If it was specific types of memories, like, well, how do you run that computer, that old style computer? Nobody knows anymore. Let's tap into that brain and find out. You download it and there it is. But it's very specifically filtered for that task or something that can benefit the whole, not like a human soap opera. Let's watch. What did he do when he found that man's shoes under his bed? It's like, oh no, don't do that. So anyway, yeah, family recipes. You're right, Phil Blair. That'd be kind of good. There's some weird stuff. I'm the king of decrepit. Fair enough, T-Bone. Fair enough. Yeah, it's interesting. It's very interesting. I have repressed memories for a reason. Amen. I mean, there's some things in my life that I would be truly proud if other people could experience with me. And there's other things I wouldn't wish on my worst enemy that they would experience or see what it was that I experienced. I mean, there's just some horrors that we experience in our journeys. Oh, Phil Funk remembered. God bless you, Phil. Yeshua, how you doing, Reloaded? Good to see you, man. Good to see you. So, yeah, I think we pretty universally think this is probably a bad idea. I think there is merit to it, but again, I don't like the idea that, you know, maybe you don't want people to know parts of, I mean, we all have a private life, and it's weird to think that somebody could just go through that like they're turning the book, pages of a book. It's like, that was me. That was my life, not yours. So, and I didn't want to share that. Otherwise I would have wrote it down myself. So, yeah, most people do not want to experience their parents conceiving them. Yeah, that's probably true. Probably true. Some things you just couldn't unsee, and I don't need to load my memory with those. All right. Well, let's get to the next article, because there's always more here on the portal. That was an interesting idea, though. Is it right or not? I don't know. Again, there's merit to it, but there's also a whole lot of gray areas. That was an unintended pun. Gray matter is what's called the brain tissue. The gray matter, gray areas. I don't know how I do that. I'm like a pun savant. It's like I honest to God, hand to God, do not intend to do puns like that, but they just come out of my lips. And I don't know where they come from. It's some part of my brain that lies dormant and subconscious, I guess. I don't know. It's weird. I just always, some people think I'm so clever, and it's like, no, I'm an idiot. I don't know how I do that. I don't know where that came from. So I'm channeling puns. I'm a channeler. I'm just channeling puns. I don't know where they're from, though. I don't know who's sending them, but I got them. Anyway, never apologize for puns. Thanks, Chucky. All right, so let's check out the next article. This one's kind of interesting. And honestly, just, well, let's read the article and I'll discuss it. I'm trying to discuss it first. Let's say that one of the other hominids were still running around in our society, not just like Bigfoot, which is probably a relic hominid out in the wilds. Maybe it's more, maybe it's something else, but obviously it's probably some part hominid. It's at least part human, according to the Genome Project, right? So, and I know that's an embattled study, but I don't think you can ignore everything that was found in that study just because of some people's problem with the narratives. Anyway, if they were around, would we know? Well, let's get to this article. I thought this was pretty interesting. I'd not seen anything like this before. Hopefully it's not too long. No, it's pretty short, actually. Here we go from unexplained-mysteries.com. The next one. If Neanderthals walked among us, would we even be able to spot them? And I like that picture. I really do like that picture because, and not because it's not grotesque at all. I don't know if this is what Neanderthals look like. Some people have suggested that Neanderthals were actually much more ape-like with much more hair rather than this more humanistic type, more sapien-looking representation. Some have suggested that they look very much like what we see as Bigfoot without, the Neanderthals were not big like Bigfoot, but they seem to be very much like Patty and ape-like. So I don't know if that's true or not. There's been a lot of speculation, and there does seem to be a bias in science when they're looking at what would be our ancestral part of our ancestry. Well, we make it look more like us through our idealizing what does this look like? What did this skeleton look like when it was fully formed in flesh and all of its body? And I don't know, is that term anthropomorphize it? We make it look like us. Maybe that's a comforting thing, but maybe they didn't look that much like us. So anyway, let's see what this says though. Could Neanderthals, Denisovans, and other human species blend seamlessly into the modern world? Prehistoric human species such as Neanderthals have long been depicted in popular culture as unintelligent cavemen with more in common with apes than with modern humans. In reality, though, however, it was likely very little to distinguish us from them. This begs the question, if a Neanderthal wore modern clothes, had modern haircut, and walked down the street among a crowd of people, would you even know that there was anything amiss? According to some scientists, the answer may not be all that clear cut. While they certainly wouldn't look completely out of place, their physical build and characteristics would still make them stand out as different. They may also struggle to keep up with today's fast-paced, technologically driven world. The idea that Neanderthals were hunched-over, dim-witted individuals with no thought beyond their next meal is no longer tenable. Paleolithic, sorry, it's a lot of letters. Archaeologist Dr. April Knoll told Mail Online. At the same time, the idea that you could just snap a hat on a Neanderthal and you would not think twice about sitting next to him on the tube is also out of the window. Well, it begs the question, what would the world be like if several human species had survived? Would they have integrated into our society? Or would they be separate tribes? What about the issue of equality and race? And it would certainly have made for a much more complex and potentially volatile society. I don't know, this image, and this is not, I really don't mean this to be degrading. This actually looks very noble, and I don't know, there's something I'm very drawn to this image. Like there's like and I realize it's an AI render, but it just has this, I don't know, neat vibe to it. And I don't know if there's any, it's weird to even say that for an AI render, because it's hard to understand if there's any transfer or any impression that could be spiritual on this rendering. But I don't know, it just looks like I would want to talk to this person. I would want to hear his story. He looks wise and I don't know, like there's years of knowledge in those eyes, and maybe generations of knowledge, and I would want to hear his stories. So I think it'd be neat, honestly, but I don't know that they looked this much like us or not. And either way, I don't know. I have no idea, but I just find it very interesting. Volatile. Oh, all right, twice the strength and mega testosterone. Yeah, that sounds like the whole testosterone thing sounds like, look at some of the worst examples of like weightlifters that really hit the roids hard. And the roid rage stories where they just go bonkers sometimes. And it's tough because they're just supercharging themselves with testosterone and all kinds of enhanced chemicals, and so it does something to psychology, but I don't know, very wild. Curious Potato says you wouldn't notice Neanderthal today. They would look just like your mother-in-law. Wow. That's a bold statement, Potato. Karen Alberding says South America has lots of tribes, and I'd be willing to bet there are some that we haven't seen. That picture looks like an old soul. It does, doesn't it? I mean, it just looks like neat. Like there's something this character could tell us. And granted, the nose is very wide, and it does have some almost Native American features, and it has I don't know, has some of our more Caucasian features. It seems like a really a melding of a lot of different cultures into this image, and it's fascinating to me. Anyway, I think it's a neat story. Geico caveman. Yeah, kind of, really. You're right. That's a good point, Mike Prine. It does kind of remind me of the Geico caveman. But look at that jaw. I mean, look at that jaw. I bet he could bite a beef rib in half, like, and probably eat it too. I didn't know this, but when my appendix burst and when I was dying, I was maybe 31, 32. I didn't know what an appendix was for. And they did the emergency surgery and cleared it out and stuff, and it was horrible. But I was like, what do I have this? Why do we have these things if they're not doing anything anyway? He goes, well, there was a time the appendix, the doctor told me this, and I assume he was correct, but he said that the appendixes were something that we used to rely on a lot to help to digest tougher matter like bones and things like that in our foods and such. So I imagine maybe their appendix on a Neanderthal would be about the size of a grapefruit. I don't know. Just weird. So what would you do if you sat down and saw someone like this? Would you talk to him? I think I would. Just want to know. But I do know that I think it's the Europeans have some percentage of Neanderthal DNA mixed in with Homo sapien DNA. Now, the whole idea that they were knuckle dragging cavemen is wrong, though. They were very cultured. They had burial rituals. They buried decorative. I think they buried their loved ones with like beads and flowers, and it was a real ritual for them. And so, I mean, they weren't just these wild ape guys that were hooting from treetops and running down deer. They were a society, and it's strange that they all but disappeared. But I tend to think that maybe I don't know, and I might be an idiot for saying this, but maybe they were not so much disappeared, but they just became us in a sense, at least some of us. So, and I like that idea. People, for the most part, are too distracted to notice most people and things in their surroundings. Well, there's truth to that. There is truth to that. And these things don't help. These phones of ours. We got these little screens and videos and social media is at our fingertip. And but back in the day, I don't know. A lot of people complain about that. About you go on the bus and everybody's got their face buried in a phone. Well, back in the old days, you go on a bus and the whole crowd was holding newspapers and reading them. So I think people have always used that as an opportunity to catch up on information. That's just the way it works. But I don't know if we changed as much as some people would like to say, but I think, there is merit to opening up your eyes. So, hey, Dog Digger, good to see you. I came in over in Rumble. Great to have you here, buddy. I said buddy. I meant buddy. There's a series of novels by Robert Sawyer where a portal between parallel worlds opens. The other world has the one where Neanderthals survived. Oh, very cool. I don't read much. I love reading a good book, but it's something I just don't have the time for. I just can't sit down and read a book. I get feeling too guilty, like, I should be using it for this. But anyway, that's cool. I think it'd be a great book. It's a great thought experiment anyway. Excuse me, sorry. All right, so that was the next article. We got one more to go, and by God, we're going to do that now. That was a cool article. That's a cool thing to think about. What the hell is this? Oh, this one. This one's weird. I don't know what to make of this. I don't pre-read anything on the show, so I'm reading it all with you for the first time. But here we go, the last article of the night from unexplained-mysteries.com. From Metaphysics and Psychology, mystery over rise of AI-fueled delusions, or they call it ChatGPT psychosis. That's not comforting at all. What the hell is that? Let's find out. The highly popular AI chatbot seems to be having an unexpected adverse effect on a few people. There's no denying that ChatGPT is an incredibly useful tool. So useful, in fact, that it started to put some people out of a job as firms turn to AI as an inexpensive alternative to entry-level staff. But in some rare cases, talking to an artificial intelligence can trigger an unexpected mental breakdown, something that is now being referred to as ChatGPT psychosis. Oh my God, really? Really? All right, I'm going to keep reading, but I got some thoughts on this. In one instance, a man who had turned to the AI to improve his business workflow ended up spiraling into manic and even messianic delusions, having become convinced that he had brought forth a sentient AI and was now on a grandiose mission to save the world. Oh, wow. Despite having no prior symptoms of mental illness, he became so obsessed with, and his behavior became so erratic, that he ended up being committed to a psychiatric care facility. In another case, a different man who had again turned to the AI for work-related assistance ended up in a 10-day descent into madness and delusion that saw him committed to a mental health facility. Well, in another case, a different man, I already read that one. Like the first man, he had believed the world was in danger and he was destined to save it. I was out in the backyard and my wife saw that my behavior was getting really out there. Rambling, talking about mind reading, future telling, just completely paranoid, he told Futurism. I was actively trying to speak backwards through time. If that doesn't make sense, don't worry. It doesn't make sense to me either. But I remember trying to learn how to speak to this police officer backwards through time. Exactly why interactions with ChatGPT have the potential to cause mental breakdowns remains a mystery. Even as developers have no clue how something like this can happen. With artificial intelligence becoming increasingly dominant in society, it's likely that issues such as this and others we don't even know about yet will become much more common in the coming years. What in the fat hell is that all about? How? I don't know what to do other than laugh, because here's the thing. I don't even know where to start. I mean, how is your grasp on reality so tenuous that just by using an AI bot, you basically reprogram your own mind? What the hell is that? I don't even know what to think about that. But I do think, again, if you just take a cross section of society, there are some people that over the course of time are going to develop mental illness. It's just a norm of the human condition. Like, for instance, not everybody can go into being, let's say, a police officer. It takes a special person to be able to handle that kind of stress, to be putting yourself on the line like that, and to be the one to go and try to solve everybody else's problems. And I'm not saying there's plenty of police officers that probably shouldn't be police officers because they're not able to really handle it well either, and they're coping with anger and control issues. But I'm talking about just the well-adjusted, good people that are doing the job. It's rarer than you think. And again, even like a surgeon, some people can't be like brain surgeons, even if they have the IQ for it. They just can't handle that pressure. And I think, I don't know how an AI would exacerbate that though, and make that more likely to occur, or occur more quickly. Maybe it's something to do with their way they interacted with it and how I don't even know. I don't know. I don't know. I'm so confused by that, and how you get from, hey, I'm going to use AI to help me, streamline my workflow, to I got to save the world. That's a huge leap. That's a big departure. They're not even in the same zip code, one and the next. So obviously, this is just a sampling of a cross section of people that probably were going to have issues somewhere anyway, but somehow using the ChatGPT or whatever just pushed them over the edge. I don't know. I think, 16 years is a long, well-lived life, though. Oh, what are we talking about? Somebody's pet? Okay. Is it, Linda, is that yours? Or are we talking about your pet? I'm just looking at the chat. Oh, I had to put on our oldest dog today. Weird. When they were doing it, husband went, I just couldn't. Heard his bark. Freaked me out. Oh, well, I'm sorry for that. I really am. These pets are big, huge parts of our lives and our hearts, and they are truly parts of the family. And it's never easy to lose something we love, someone we love. So my apologies to you. I swear I heard it was his bark at 7:01. He passed at 7 p.m. I'm sure it was, Linda. I'm sure. I have no doubt that just like our living relatives when they pass, I'm sure they come around us too. And maybe they come around us in a lot of different ways, but certainly a bark would be one way. For a pet, with people, it might be a smell, a familiar smell, or a familiar sound, or something that makes you think about them. And it's like, that could be them saying goodbye. I don't know, but I am so sorry for what you're dealing with, and my heart goes out to you. I've lost pets, and probably got another loss coming up myself, and it's not something you can prepare for. But just know we love you, and just know that life continues. So that was the news. Interesting. I don't know about the chat psychosis. That's weird. Chat GPT, I should say, not chat. Otherwise, we're all going to die. If it was just chat psychosis, we're all in trouble. But anyway, there it is, folks. This has been the news. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Found some merit in it, some ideas, discussion, whatever. I hope you found value in this show. So we're going to get back to the rest of the show. Let's go do it. Sorry about that. I had to take a drink. All right. Hello, Wes. Good to see you, brother. Thanks for stopping in. Yeah, I've just so you guys know, Mr. Nubis, my black cat, he's not doing so great, and just came on all of a sudden, and so it's one of those things I'm thinking about now too. Is just, there's going to be a day where he's just not going to be here anymore, and it's gonna be a heartbreaker. It's something you can't brace for. And I think what's special about pets is that, people are so flawed. People are a mess, generally speaking, and I love you all. Don't take this the wrong way, but we all know a lot of the people we know have issues, and they're roller coasters on the best of days. But pets are just, I don't know, they just love us. They're just sweet. They're very simple, except Pikachu. He's a little dick, but he's a sweetheart. He's just he's just a little dick, my white cat. But he was feral, so he's got that feral cat kind of life view, which is survival. And it's funny because he's still utilizing a lot of that in his coping mechanisms, but always fighting with every other cat he bumps into. He's just a jerk, but I love him to death. He's my little cross-eyed white dork. But it's tough. Yeah, they are like angels. You're right. So, but I am sorry. Oof, I'm not looking forward to that, crossing that bridge myself again. It's one of the things that actually made me think, do I really want more pets again? Because they live such brief lives, but they leave such huge imprints on our hearts. And it's such an agony to watch them go, It's just not fair. But they say, to quote Blade Runner. There it is. Blade Runner. To quote Blade Runner, a star that shines twice as bright burns half as long. So they certainly shine bright. But all right, we're going to get back into the roll here and see where we're going for the rest of the show. What are we doing? I think we'll do when my current dog Teddy passes away, it might break me. He's a rescue and it's only 3. He lives like a prince now. Yeah, Teddy won the lottery when he got that deal, brother. Yeah, I know. Wes loves that dog like you wouldn't believe. It's crazy. I mean, it's wonderful. He's just a sweet little dog, though. All right, let's get to the next part of the show, and this part is the question of the week. Are you guys ready? Let me get it all up on screen so we're set to go, and we're gonna get to it now. Let me close this, minimize this so it doesn't poke out from behind. I think that should be framed up right. Let's do it. Here it is, the question of, no, not that. Forgot to close that last time. Let's do it this time. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's the question of the week. This is the part of the show where on our Discord server, our amazing friend, Mr. Chucky Danger, who's been an incredible admin and mod both here on the channel on YouTube as well as on Discord, comes up with a question. And sometimes with our other mods like Annie or Maggie or somebody else, we'll give them an idea. But they ask the question to all of you guys. And our Discord server is wide open. If you want to become a member, please check it out. But look for the thread on there that's called the question of the week. And that's where the questions are asked. Make sure to check the date, though. Sometimes people answer a question that's, months old. And it'll, of course, appear on the bottom with the new stuff. But you got to scroll all the way to the bottom. Make sure you get the right one. But it's our chance to ask you guys a question about something to do with the paranormal. Again, could be ghosts, could be UFO, could be cryptozoology. Zoology. Sorry. My tongue didn't follow my intentions there very well, or strange phenomena. And Chucky comes up with these incredible questions, and it's just an opportunity to see what you guys think. I think it's good to remember there's no wrong answers, as we know, because nobody knows what any of this stuff is. Nobody. If somebody tells you they know exactly what all this stuff is, they're hitting a different pipe than the one that I'm on, because I don't know what they're studying. How are they studying it? And, I'm not saying that theories are ridiculous. Believe what you want. But I just don't think anybody can speak with authority. So don't be afraid to put what you think. If you have a different idea than most people, put it in there. This is an opportunity for all of us to kind of do a thought experiment, see where we end up. And I got to tell you, I'm so glad that many of you guys participate in this and put your ideas out there, because you guys have thought of things I've never considered. And I mean that sincerely. You guys have come up with brilliant ideas and angles on this stuff that I probably never would have come to in 1,000 years. So please don't be afraid to participate. Please put whatever you think is right, and we'll go over it. go over it on the shows. Every Saturday we do these, unless there's a guest, and then we may postpone it for a week. But generally speaking, this is our Saturday dig. All right, here we go. We're going to the questions of the week. I guess this is the one from June 30th, which is the first week of July, actually. Chucky asked the question of the week. In Tibetan culture, there exists a belief in being able to create thought form constructions, otherwise known as Tulpa. It apparently takes 9 months of continuous concentration and focus on what you want to create in order to birth a tulpa. Once created, it is also possible to destroy the tulpa by dissolving the thought. What do you think about the tulpa? Is it possible to create a thought form? Are some other cryptids actually existing tulpas? That is an interesting question. Very fascinating, Chucky. Yeah, I would have probably never thought to ask something like that. So you can see why Chucky's running this deal. He's much better at it than I ever was. All right, first up comes Karen Alberding. I've never heard of a tulpa. This is above my head, which isn't very hard. Oh, Karen, you're not. Stop it. I'm short, but it's not something I've ever heard of, so have never given thought to. I don't really think, however, that cryptids are existing tulpas. I think they are actually living, breathing creatures in their own right, created by no one but themselves. It's a little far-fetched to me. Yeah, I understand. Great thoughts. Annie Manul comes in next, said you'd first have to distinguish between perception and the independent phenomena of a real-life cryptid. People mostly perceive what they expect to see. This includes not seeing Bigfoot 12 feet from them when somebody else can see him. People also attribute things to the spooky. That's why creepy stories or movies can have us going at the least thing for an hour afterwards. I got to reread that. That's why creepy stories or movies can have us going at the least thing for an hour afterwards. That leads us to classic Buddhist metaphysics. Thoughts create reality. Much of this parallels the metaphysics of the world. Ooh, there's a few of them around. Much of this parallels the metaphysics of the world of quantum physics. We create thought form all of the time, and that's why synchronicities happen and magic or prayer works. I suppose some monks could create a spirit, Yeti, but my understanding from my Tibetan Buddhist professor named Charlie was that they're seen as natural creatures. Then again, all creation has a conscious aspect for many Buddhists. I don't think Bigfoot is a thought creation. He's too concrete down to Texas hand and footprints. That doesn't mean that we don't create the old poltergeist or ghost light horn or born of our own intentions. I should wear my glasses, sorry. What we're bringing into being reflects something of ourselves. That's a fascinating answer. Thank you, Annie. You hit on some great points there. Yeah, I think that's a great response. TT comes in next, says, I created a tulpa on accident once with some meditative work I was doing. It's basically me in image and limited aspect. And friends of mine have reported to me that they have interacted with him in dreams. It's absolutely possible to create thought forms, and independent ones at that. There are tons of egregores out there, too, that have been created by the thought and emotional energy of groups of people as well, both knowing and unknowingly. Wow, that's fascinating. Really good points, TT. Thank you. All right, Eric the Wandering Purple Hobbit. Pure poppycock, I say. How can a show as serious as Paranormal Portal cover such a ridiculous idea? Isn't the tulpa the kind of flower or a city in Oklahoma? Just kidding. Christ did say that all things you have seen me do, you can do as well. And didn't he create enough loaves and fishes out of a few? Make water wine? Our potential is clearly untapped. Who knows what's possible? Okay, in the spirit of the I think he meant 4th of July, everyone imagine a Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. Close your eyes and think real hard. Brent, party at your place on the 4th. Cool? I missed this. I didn't even know I was having a party. And nobody showed up for that matter. So all things considered, I was home until the fireworks. So nobody showed up at my house for the party. So it didn't go very far. Nobody wanted to party here on the 4th. All right. Elaine comes in and says, I think it can be done. I also think we can summon them by dwelling on them, even if we didn't create them. I don't dwell and tell the universe they are BS. I don't want any odd visitors in my room. I'd have drywall to fix. Fair enough. TT's coming in to something. The original message was deleted. But I don't know whose the original message was, but it says Slenderman was an egregore, actually. All the people reading Slenderman stories on Creepypasta or whatever else, focusing their energies onto this thing, being created an egregore here and even further giving it fear energy from which to feed. I believe created an egregore which lead to Slenderman stabbings in Wisconsin 2014. This is my opinion. I can't prove this empirically, but this is how I think that whole thing played out. I think there was an egregore that influenced those two girls to lure the third one into the woods and stab her 19 times. I'm fairly certain this is what happened here. Could be. I'm sure that, again, if enough people believe in something or send enough energy at it, then maybe it does manifest. And that is what an egregore is. And some hauntings, some classically haunted places are believed to be haunted by egregores. Oftentimes actually, the history is almost unprovable. The legendary stories that's like, I was talking to Amy Bruni, and she says, yeah, historically, they can't prove anything, any of the claims of Myrtle's plantation as far as historically. There's no merits for any of them in any historical records. But these stories of the servant lady who poisoned the family or whatever have gone on and created this idea. And certainly the place is active. So there's something going on there, but those could very well be examples of egregores. And that was, Amy Bruni was actually the one that introduced me to the egregore idea. I had a concept for that. I just didn't know it had a term. So I'm very grateful for that. But yeah, very fascinating. Great thoughts, DT. Thank you. Rachel 101 comes in last and says, I do think it's possible to create tulpas. The cryptids that appear that are seen in local communities may be a type of thought form. We can say what the rules we can say what the rules are, but do we know with certainty what the rules really are for their creation? It could be beings that have been woven into a physical substance from the collective unconsciousness of every living thing, both flora and fauna. These beings might be in shapeless forms of an unknown energy. Humans may transmit that thought, and these shapes, acting in their nature, could take on something more recognizable to humans. Whether it's something we have in North America or in any country in the world, and all human culture has its monsters. Yeah, I mean, that is an interesting thought. I do appreciate that a lot, Rachel, actually, because I've always been fascinated by the idea of regional haunts, that apparitions often follow cultural beliefs. In Thailand, for instance, one of their big horrible omens is seeing a little girl ghost in a red dress. If you see that, that means very negative things are coming. Now, that's not a phenomenon that happens anywhere else, but there's people that swear they see that little girl. And sure enough, then they encounter some horrible things, or people close to them do. And that's a very regional manifestation. Now, in a lot of Asiatic countries, they do have the woman in the tattered night dress with the black draping hair, the Samara figure, basically from The Ring. That's a very Asiatic, or at least Japanese idea of a haunting. That same character type. And so it is possible that the energies are there, and they do look to the people that are around and appear accordingly. They appear according to the expectation, like perhaps that's imprinted on us, and they can see that, and then they manifest in such a way that it correlates to that. I don't know. I don't understand it all. Obviously, nobody does, but I think there is merit to that. That these energies are all around, but they may actually manifest in ways that will, trigger those understandings. Like, hey, things are going to go crappy for you. I'm a little girl in a red dress today. I don't know. It's bizarre. Now there's a third thing. There's tulpas, there's egregores, and there's one more that doesn't get mentioned, but this is one that comes from more ritualistic practices, and that is a servitor. A servitor is done by ritual, and it's basically a conscious spell that you create a servitor that will go and enact your will, whether that's good or bad, whether it's revenge, whether it's, whatever. And it will consciously go out and accomplish that according to practitioners. And that's a whole nother thing. No, it's not really a tulpa. It's not really an egregore. It's a very focused creation in order to create some outcome. And I don't know how long they persist. I don't know a whole lot about them, but I find it's pretty fascinating. And I think that might explain a lot of times in occult, like dark satanic occult practices. If you find a ritual site, there's often a dark entity that's around there that is believed to be guarding it, some demonic type thing. Well, I don't know that it's necessarily a demon, but it could be a created servitor done through ritual practice to watch over their ritual sites. And doesn't mean they're any less, horrible and terrible things. It's just a different understanding of it. So I don't know if you want that information or not, but I just thought I'd throw it out there. Great thoughts. Not a lot of responses, but great thoughts on all of you guys who did respond. Thank you so much. I appreciate you guys taking the time. Again, the Discord community is a wonderful gathering of the same people that are in the chat room right now. And I see Jose came in. I thought I already said hi to him, but I'm going to say it again. And that was, when did he come in? Oh, June 20th. Sorry, it's been a few days since I've been in here. But these conversations are continuing all the time over here. So feel free to join the Discord, jump into the conversation. There's all kinds of different discussion threads going on. And if you have material you want to post, please post it, as long as it's, geared towards the paranormal. Obviously, I don't want you to, I don't want to, see what the Kardashians are up to in my Discord. So make sure it's paranormally related, but you all are welcome. It costs you nothing. You just got to learn how to use Discord, and it's not that hard. There's plenty of tutorials out there. And we do have Sheldon did make a Discord tutorial thread here, right down here. And you can just scroll up with your mouse wheel and look at these videos. They'll kind of walk you through how to use Discord. It's not a tough program to use, but it's just a little awkward. It's kind of different than most other programs you've used. But once you know where things are, navigation is stupid simple, and it's very easy to use. So, all right, that's been the question of the week. So once again, thank you, Chucky. Well, you knocked it out of the park. Great question. I never would have thought of that. That's a great question. Interesting things to ponder. And the question of the week is also a great way to, introduce you to some other concepts out there. Like, I like it when I look up and somebody says, like, Karen, I had never heard of this before. Well, that's cool, because it means everybody's gaining from the discussion as well, and understanding, at least, of some of the ideas out there. It doesn't mean you subscribe to them. It doesn't mean you have to believe them, but these are the things people talk about in these circles. And so if you're interested in learning more, you certainly can learn more. But very cool. I appreciate all of you guys. Thank you so much. Join the Discord. Rachel put the link in the chat. And so it's right there, discord.gg/paranormal portal. It's very easy. https://discord.gg/paranormal portal. There you go. Don't forget sheep squatch. Definitely can't forget. Bat squatch always confuses me. I don't understand bat squatch, because if you're moving a body that's 8 or 10 feet tall and is that much meat, That bat squatch would have to be flipping its wings like a freaking hummingbird to get off the ground. I don't know how that could be anything real. So I don't know. I'm not saying it couldn't be. I just don't understand the physics of it, because you're not going to get 1,200 pounds just floating around. It's okay by you. I'll email you my UFO sighting for sure. I appreciate it, Jose. Thank you. I appreciate it if you would. I like reading those things, and I could certainly include it on an upcoming podcast where I'll be covering listener emails. If you don't want to be a guest on the podcast, email me your stories, and I will narrate your stories and build them up and produce them so they look and sound good, I guess. Mostly sound good. It's mostly audio, if I could speak. But I'm looking for more of them out there. So if you have a story and you don't want to be a guest, but you want to share your story for other people to hear, email it to me at paranormalportalradio@gmail.com. I will be putting together a listener email. I've got a couple stories that were just emailed to me recently, and the more the merrier, because it takes about five or six stories for a good episode. So they don't have to be long. Just tell me what you've experienced, and I will bring them to life as best I can. So that's definitely on the roster. So, all right, that was the Discord question of the week, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get back to the rest of the show. All right, now we're back, and we got more to do here. So, what time is it? 8:10. My God, time just flew. Did I yap too much? Is that what happened, or is this just a time anomaly here? Sasquatch have been known to float. I don't know how. I just don't understand that personally. And that's the part where I would think, well, maybe it's not really Sasquatch. Maybe it's something that's choosing to appear like a Sasquatch. Not that I'm an expert, but it's just, I have to admit, I have an open mind for everything, and I don't discount any claims like that. I really don't. I just don't understand them. And so I keep thinking of mass, what it takes to lift mass, and how magical can these beings really be? I don't know. They're starting to sound like Gandalf sometimes. It's like, ooh, are they wizards? I don't understand. And I'm not mocking, I swear. It's just, this is the way my head works. Like, well, how do you float 1,200 pounds of muscle and bone? I mean, how do you float that? That to me just, I don't understand. And granted, we don't understand, but that's the hard part to get around and understand. So Sasquatch with glowing hands in the UFO Sasquatch can disappear and are telepathic. It gets wacky. It does. It's just, I mean, certainly I leave open the possibility that, look, maybe they are something more. Maybe they can tap into a lot of other fields than we understand. And I don't know. I've had a lot of theories about that through the years, and none of them can I substantiate or quantify to any degree, but perhaps there is plenty of accounts of people finding themselves in unfamiliar territory when they're on a path they walk all the time. Like suddenly they'll just be like, something's different, and look around like, I don't recognize anything. This doesn't look like anywhere near where I'm supposed to be. So it seems like they've traversed some kind of portal. So I think that portals might be naturally occurring in our world. Just another hiccup or another function of physics that we just don't understand yet. But perhaps these portals open and close, and maybe there's a pattern to them. And maybe then, if the Sasquatch is very in tune with the world around them, much more than we are, then they know these things. Kind of like we know a bus route when you live in the cities. Well, I got to catch the number 12 and then head over and catch 13, heading over to, wherever. Maybe they understand the function of these naturally occurring gateways in the world around us and just know where to be, when to be, in order to traverse and go where they need to go. I mean, that to me seems so much more likely, and maybe it's because I just can't get around the idea that these are some kind of cosmic super being, and yet they live ferally, I don't know. It's just, that's where I get hung up. But I do think that they are incredibly in tune with the natural world around them. Maybe they can sense when these things are going to open and where, and they move towards them in order to traverse, because it's like their subway. You know, they just hop it through one and then they're somewhere else. I don't know. Just a thought. Why wouldn't there be a Sasquatch shaman? I don't know. Maybe they're all shaman. Maybe they're all spiritually adept. They don't need shamanistic leaders because maybe they're all just aware of their own spirituality. I don't know. Great point, though. Could be. Just ideas. Again, I don't pretend to be smart enough to say, no, that can't be, and this has to be. I don't know. But I do try to work within my own paradigm and understand it as well as I can. And I'm not being judgmental. I'm certainly fine with people believing whatever they believe about these things. I just don't understand. And so I have to be true to my own nature, and that's what you'll hear. And this is me being true to my own nature, I guess. Like, I can't just blindly accept things because somebody said it. You know, I just can't. I need something to go on, some understanding, or at least an experience of my own that I can go, well, yeah, I saw that. I saw that myself. I can understand that. I don't understand what it is, but I know that it's real. And it's not that I need to be shown everything, but I do need to be able to, like, process it. And I get stuck processing a lot of those claims. And that's my own hang up. It really is. I'm not saying it's not possible. It's just my own personal hang up. Curious Potato says, I think the reason Bigfoot DNA isn't recognized is because they are almost human. Well, that certainly could be, according to the Melbourne names. God, my brain. Melbourne Ketchum DNA study. The maternal is human, according to her results. Now, I got to tell you guys, if you want a good look at the Ketchum study, check out Sasquatch Chronicles. Wes actually interviewed her, and it was a very good interview. And she put it all out there and really did a great job filling in a lot of blanks and addressing a lot of the misunderstandings and people attempting to debunk what she's done. And I walked away from that episode really. Before that, I was like, oh, I don't know. It's really embattled, and a lot of people are pushing back against this. Even people in the community. This is a hot potato. But after that interview that Wes did with her, I walked away going, yeah, I think she really did. She really did do what she said she did. She really did find what she said she found. And even though plenty of people are pushing back against it, it was a good episode, and it's great to hear it from her own words, because oftentimes we only had little press releases and blots here and there about people pushing back against it. And she didn't really aggressively defend it. And I can't blame her, man. She was taking him on the chin everywhere. But Wes did an exceptional job interviewing her and getting to the story that I don't think I ever heard before. So look back at Sasquatch Chronicles and catch that interview, and I know you'll gain a lot of understanding from that. So at least you can hear it in her own words. You know, you can hear it from her own words, what she experienced and what they found, and come to your own conclusions. Again, don't ever believe things out there because somebody said this or somebody said that. Too much of that knee-jerk internet culture is out there, like, well, I heard so-and-so say that that's a bunch of crap, so it's a bunch of crap. It's like, really? You might want to look into that. Might want to look into it. I'm not saying they're wrong, but look into it. Look for your own answers. Don't get opinions because somebody said something. Don't ever get opinions because somebody on the internet said something. There's going to be always people saying something. So, I mean, you got to come to your own conclusions. That's just my big takeaway. Yeah, you're right, T-Bone. I was just telling Wes that the other day. Sasquatch Chronicles, the best opening of a podcast. Yeah, it gives me chills even to this day. I've heard it literally thousands of times or hundreds of times, and it still gives me the shivers every time. It's like, oh, here we go. Let's go. It just pulls me in. Wes did a master class on opening a podcast. And it's often imitated. If you listen to other shows out there, there's a lot of people that were trying to trying to recreate that mojo, but nobody did it as well as he did, man, and does as well as he does. Nothing is a bunch of crap. You are so right, Brent. Thank you, Karen. I appreciate that. I just get real tired on this internet community of people like, well, so-and-so said this, so blah, It's like, wow, you really have to read between the lines. You've got to look into these claims and into these ideas and into these debunkings, because a lot of them are debunked on. And it's just accepted. It's just accepted. Well, that's crap. I'm out. It's like, why? Did you look into it at all? You're going to find out that there truly is two sides to every story. And once you forget that, just take somebody's opinion that they spoon fed you and make it your own, then you're a part of the problem. Either be part of the solution or be part of the problem, that old saying. So if you're taking opinions based on what somebody you listened to said, then you really need to examine your life, because we're all idiots. I'm an idiot with a microphone. I tell you that all the time. Don't listen to me. Don't listen to what I say, but look into things. Jeff Garvey, bunk is a bad connotation. Why? I don't know what that means. Not sure what you're saying there, Jeff, but you could be right. I just don't understand that. A genuine scientific investigation came back with almost human, where there should have been no people. It was so remote. Yeah, that's crazy. I don't doubt it, Curious Potato. I mean, it makes sense to me. I have no problem calling some of those theories absolute BS. It gets pretty wacky out there. You're absolutely right, Justin. It does. I mean, there is I think the biggest liability lately, for a long time on the internet, is that anybody can introduce any idea and put it out there as if it's gospel. And surprisingly, there'll be a lot of people that'll agree that that's absolutely the way it is. Untested, unsubstantiated, just, well, do you know that the sky's actually pink? I know it is. I know, and I'll tell you why, and they'll give you some, cosmic answer, and there'll be people out there that'll swear that the sky is now pink because somebody said it. And it's not good. It's not good. So I'm kind of getting on a soapbox, but I think it's important to push back about that stuff. Brent, my Absalom has short time too. What's Absalom, Barbara? I don't know what that means. What? I got to look that up. What is Absalom? Absalom. What is Absalom? Oh, caterpillar? What does Absalom mean? Let me look. The name Absalom is often spelled Absalom, means father of peace. In Hebrew, is a masculine name derived from the Hebrew word father, and shalom, which is peace. In the Old Testament, Absalom was the son of King David. I don't think that's where we're going with this, but all right. You have to let me know. Oh, cat. Oh, okay. Sorry. I didn't know what that meant. Okay. Gotcha now. Here I am looking up. What does this mean? What is Barbara saying? What doesn't have much time? Yeah, it's tough. The pet thing is tough. But anyway, yes, do your own research, folks. Don't take somebody's opinion and make it your own. Look into it. And I mean, look into it. Not just look for somebody else to say something else and then put the two together and decide that's your opinion now. Do the research. Look into this stuff. Some people can be easily manipulated. Yes, they can. And that ice wall is melting. I'm not touching flat earth. I'm just going to say that. Brent just emailed an experience for you to consider. Thank you, Phil. Appreciate it. I appreciate that a bunch. Very cool. All right. So sorry to go on and on. I just wanted to address some of that because I mean, there's always stuff to talk about. And certainly this show is first and foremost a discussion. The show has always been meant to be a discussion about this stuff. And wherever we go, we go. I have guidelines of things that I want to cover or maybe will cover. But if the conversation organically goes a different direction, I just assume that must be the conversation we're meant to have. So I hope that makes sense to you guys. Somebody's waiting out there. Go, when we get into the cryptids, come on. I need some cryptids. We'll get there. I promise. All right. So I'm going to hit what the hell is that? I think at this point, I think we're going to skip the article. We're not going to go into the military paranormal experiences tonight because we are running out of time. And I suddenly got the hiccups, so I got to take a drink. Philip Blair says, I heard a cool Tulpa story about a group research. Oh, yeah, the Philip experiment. Yeah, absolutely. That was more of an egregore, though, than a Tulpa. There's a lot of confusion between egregore and Tulpa. Tulpa is an individually manifested thing, like it's manifested by a person. And egregore is a group manifestation. So, but yeah, you're right. You're right. Yeah, the Philip experiment is really, really pretty bizarre and awesome. And it goes to show you that things can be manifested. Getting on late, but haven't been home. Oh, thank you, Larry and Shirley Bell. Good to see you. Good to have you here whenever you can make it. Two in a row. Wow. First there was one, then there was two. They're just stopping by. I think that's waving to you guys. They're just doing a wave by. Hey, chat. I don't know. It's funny. All right, so let's get to what the hell is that? Are you guys ready? Because it's time for what the hell is that?
What the hell is that?
At Brent, a what now? Oh, egregore. Egregore is a group of people believing in something and manifesting an actual consciousness based on that. The Philip experiment out of Canada is an example of an egregore. Like a group of researchers got together and just decided to create this entity with a created backstory. And they just kept focusing on it, meditating on it, reinforcing it over and over for a period of months. And finally, in their investigations, they started to have Philip show up. And Philip's story was exactly the one they manifested for him. And it's pretty fascinating stuff. So that's the Philip story. I think it was Philip, but whatever the name was. Couldn't remember the name. I'm glad you brought that up. So a bonus show tomorrow then? What? What do you mean? I need days off too. Come on. All right. Let's get it on. I shouldn't say it that way. Let's get to what the hell is that? I've got some videos. This is a newer segment on the show where we look at video evidence and decide maybe, I don't know if we decide, but we look at it and see if it looks like it might be legitimate or if it looks like a bunch of crap and why. I introduced this concept because of seeing so much trash out there. And I was like, oh my God. Well, that's a firework. Did you hear that? It's the weekend. Everybody's going to be popping fireworks off through the rest of the weekend. So that one was kind of close, but anyway. So sometimes there's good evidence. I think it might really stand up. Now, all of the time we can only work with little segments of information and then the footage itself. We can't interview these people. We can't ask questions. We can't research it in any really meaningful way. And this isn't meant to say, yes, this is a real thing. No, this is not a real thing. It's just meant to go, oh, what are you seeing? Does it look like it could be something, or does it absolutely look bunk, and why? I can't tell you how many times I've seen the old security camera with a cobweb hanging in front of it, going back and forth, looking like a stick of light, and people are absolutely convinced those are manifestations. And it's like, no, those are webs that are catching the IR projected light and reflecting back at the lens. It's just, you can see it in the pendulum nature of it. Like it's connected somewhere above and it'll swing back and forth like a pendulum. That's so common. Or even if it just goes back and forth like this, it might be way up there and dangling down. Cobwebs are a big problem in paranormal research just for that reason. So if you see some anomaly like that on a screen, you either got to go A, bug, or B, spider web, and remove those. If you can actively look at it and go, there's no webs hanging in front of that, it might have been a bug, but it didn't look like a bug, then maybe you got something. So it's all just about critical thinking. So the first one that I've got for you guys is this one. I thought this one's interesting. Not a lot of evidence, or not a lot to go on here other than a claim and I guess a security camera on a ranch. It's interesting to me, and I got to resize this quick, so hold on, hang in there. There it is. Had to make sure my things were lined up so I didn't actually accidentally close it. But here we go for the first one. This is a claim that somebody that owns a ranch and has no horses, but they caught a horse walking through the pasture next to the house. They don't have a horse. They went out afterwards and didn't find any prints for a horse to have been there. None of the neighbors lost a horse that could have somehow inexplicably ended up in his pasture. But here it is. Let's take a look at this one. Here we go. Let me move my head somewhere else. I'm going to go over here for this. All right. So here is maybe a video of a horse. This comes from the Scarecast. I think this is on Facebook, or it might be an Instagram, but it says, creepy photo from Reddit. It's not a photo, it's a video. Depicts a ghostly horse walking in a pasture in the middle of the night, or was it really a ghost? And the credit goes to Regular Joe 500 on Reddit. So it's not a picture, it's actually a video, but here we go.
Posted on Reddit, which started off innocent. An overnight video of a pasture with an adorable horse walking right past. But the only problem is, the owner of the pasture does not own a horse.
Okay, I gotta kill the sound because there's music on there and I'm gonna end up paying somebody for that, so let's kill that. And just look at it. So, the fact the horse passed away a couple of years before on the very pasture, which the owner believes that the horse could have paid the pasture a visit one last time. So the question is it a real horse? And we're just getting a bunk story? After many claim that it could be a runaway horse, the owner confirmed that nearby neighbors were not missing a horse that night. He didn't see any tracks on the ground. What do you think this could be? I mean, it could be, but it could be just a made-up narrative of somebody catching their horse walking into a pasture, and they created a bunk narrative about it. So, I don't know. If that part of the story is legitimate, that the person doesn't own any horses, and yet they caught this apparition, I guess, then sure, I guess it's possible. It wouldn't be the first time I've heard of animals manifesting in the spiritual way, most often because they passed. But I've talked to many animal owners through the years who have seen and experienced their pets right there with them. So that doesn't surprise me that could be a capture. But again, you have to put a lot of this on faith. So real or not, I don't know. You be the judge. It could be, but it also could be just a funky narrative somebody made up because the horse is very indistinct and almost ethereal as it walks away in the background, almost out of the IR booster light. So it does look very ghostly because it's just not close enough. I think it's probably more likely that, I'll just be honest, because catching an apparition on camera is literally like the holy relic that everybody's looking for in paranormal investigating. It's the cup of Christ. To catch that is such a rarity. So it just seems like it's probably just that much farther out than the booster can really illuminate it. So it's just walking by in the night. And they made up this other narrative. That's kind of my take. But it could be legitimately, it's not impossible. But check out the Scarecast on Facebook. I'm sure they have tons more like this. The Scarecast. And it's a great video. I mean, they did a hell of a job with the AI renders and stuff. But I don't know. Is it proof? Is it not proof? Or from the movie clip renders? I don't know what that is.
What do you think this could be?
I don't know what it is. That's what we're asking. There you go. That's the first one on what the hell is that? Use Occam's razor? Yeah, I think so. I mean, Occam's razor is, whatever is the most simple, eloquent explanation is probably the right one. And I would say it's most likely just a capture of a horse walking by in a pasture. And somebody created a cool narrative and put a video out. Was there a ghost horseman? Nope, just the ghost horse, apparently. I don't know. Again, that's the problem with the internet. So, whoops, wait, we're not done. It thought we were done. We're not done. I forgot to turn that off. Oh, Linda gifted a membership. God bless you. And Cynthia Russo is now a guest member of the portal for 1 month. So congratulations, Cynthia, and thank you so much, Linda. We really appreciate it. That means the world. So that's the first one. I've got 2 more to go through with you guys. So we're going to do that now. All right, so I got to get the next one. I got to resize it. I had it opened in a better window, and I don't know why when I refreshed it, it put in this crappy version. But this one comes from the Unsolved Mysteries of Louisiana Facebook page, and you can follow them as well. I haven't checked out their page, but I caught this in my Reels feed, and I was like, oh, that looks cool. This is a video that's actually been around a while. This is not their video. This is one that they're made a video about this footage. It is fascinating. Apparently, some campers had put up a trail cam around their campsite because they kept hearing things walking around in the middle of the night. And then they captured this weird figure that's very translucent and very ghostly. Now, I don't know what you think. Again, are these things hard to fake? No. You can use a opacity pass and put a figure of somebody walking around and then take the frame that stays static of a night vision shot from a trail cam, put it up there and do a lowered opacity shot and have someone walk around, and then you can layer them and make it look like one image, and then you just reduce the visibility of the top layer, which is the person walking around, and it seamlessly sits on the one behind it, which is perfect match because it's the same camera shot. And so hoaxing something like this is stupid easy in video editing, but is that what we're looking at here? You be the judge. I can't say for sure. This is a 32-second clip, but it's pretty fascinating. I don't know if this has music or not, but let's put it up and we'll play it. Here you go. Let me make sure it's framed up right. I got to get it here. I think I got to move me again a little bit down maybe this time. I'm going to put me over here. I'm going to take out part of my head or my shoulder. There we go. Now you should be able to see most of it. Here we go. Let's have a look. I'm going to turn on the sound because I don't remember what this was. Yeah, that's not happening. We're not doing sound. So still haven't figured this one out. Transparent entity. There it is. Did you see that glimpse up here? We'll probably let it repeat here so you can see it again. It's 32 seconds long, but it does come back. That's not the only appearance of it. It seems to be walking around. That's a truck parked up there. There it is. Got the kind of reflective eyes, and it's jumping around like that, going back and forth. I'll just be honest, folks. This one to me, oh, Jesus. This one to me looks extraordinarily fake. And I think it's exactly what I just explained with layering shots and then just lowering the opacity on the top one. Because it kind of goes in front of the camera and does this. Well, what the hell? Who the hell's going to do that? If you're a creepy entity, why would you do that? So watch when it comes up. It kind of does this bob and weave back and forth. And I'm not critiquing the actual channels that are hosting these videos. I think it's great that they're doing it. There it goes. It's kind of like going back and forth like, what is this? I don't know what I'm seeing. Come on, quit doing that. That's why I hate when it opens like this, because I don't want to look at other reels. I just want this one. We'll watch it one more time. I want to know what you guys think. What do you think? Is this one real or zero tomfoolery? What do you think? Is it playing? Yeah, there it is. Okay. There it comes around, comes back. What do you guys think? Yeah, Karen says zero. I think zero too. It really looks like something that was layered and made to look like a ghostly video. And I can't say for sure that that's the case. But again, I'm not critiquing the channels that are hosting this. I think it's great that they're hosting these videos and putting them out there because it's great discussion. It's great to consider and great to look at what is being presented as evidence. So Cal thinks it's real. Okay, fair enough. Eric Fry, not sure. Phil Funk, not real. Rachel thinks it's real. Fair enough, you guys. You could be absolutely right. You could be. Again, there's so little to go on here. So I just don't know. It's like an orgy of evidence in one shot. You know, there's so many appearances, and then it makes sure to keep coming into frame. If it just walked by or something, I could be, well, that could be real. But the fact that not only did it walk by, but it's like looking at that camera, well, that's not unusual. Wildlife sees these cameras all the time. You see wildlife trail cam shots, oftentimes, most often, the animals are looking right at it going, what the hell's that? You know, because they can see it, they can hear it, something. So if it is an intelligence apparition, being, whatever, maybe it would be like, what is that? And walk up to it and check it out, look at it back and forth, side to side. But it's also kind of like, again, the orgy of evidence. Like, if there's so much there in one shot, is it likely? I don't know. That's where it gets a little sketchy for me personally. I don't know if it's real. Phil says, yeah, cloaking Squatch of Canada could be. Could be. Funny Mice Pac-Man says fake. Let's see. Happy birthday, Chuck. Chucky's your birthday? I think when you see a glimmer man, what you are actually seeing is the being's aura. Yeah, it could be. Could be a good point, yeah. Trail cams are fun. They are, and they're interesting, but it seems like, I don't know, they're also easy to fool, and they're certainly not, I guess, they're just as good as any, I guess, video evidence, but I don't know. It seems like everything knows they're there. Even the animals, like, the idea is they're not supposed to know they're there. I mean, some of those trail cam videos, you catch a mountain lion walking by, a moose, but most of those shots are in the daytime. But at night, something about these trail cams really sticks out to the animals. And I'm not sure what that is, but yeah. July 2nd, Paranormal Portal. Oh, okay. So your birthday was July 2nd. Well, happy birthday. My dad's birthday was actually July 3rd. He's passed away, of course, but yeah, I always remembered it. That was one birthday I remembered because my dad and I had a challenging relationship, and I always thought, yeah, it's the day before Independence Day. I was, yeah, you know, being the problem child. They can see infrared, probably. Yeah, probably, Owl. I think so. I think that animals can see a lot differently than we see. So this is the next one. I don't know. Is it real or not? Could be. Could be. Some people in there say Sasquatch. Andy Chain says Sasquatch. Tina says a drone. Not sure what a drone would be bipedal, but, you know, she's welcome to her opinion. I think it's definitely a figure, a humanoid figure. I don't think it's a Bigfoot, but because this is a fender right here. So whatever we're looking at is only just taller than that hood. So it's about a 5.5 foot tall, whatever it is. Certainly not giant. Not that young Squatch couldn't be smaller than the giant towering ones, but it's definitely something to consider. So got one more, and we'll get to that right now. So let's frame up the last one for tonight. This one is interesting. Very, very interesting. This is the one I thought I was going to show you guys last time on Wednesday's show. But I queued up the wrong one, and I couldn't find this one, but I found it now. And by God, we're going to watch it. Now, this one, I think, is a fascinating example of children seeing what adults can't. And I'm speaking, of course, of spiritual energies or whatever. One of the first beings in a household to notice a haunting starting is children. They will see things that we adults cannot see. There's a lot of reasons possibly for that, one of which young children, their brains are in theta state rather than whatever we're in. Are we in beta or alpha? I don't know what state of mind we are, what they call it. But theta state is also famous for the state that hypnotists will put you in order to hypnotize you. But it's a very wide open state. It's where your mind is in complete receiver mode. And these children from ages of birth up until about 5 to 7 years old are naturally in a state of theta. And so perhaps that is why they're able to perceive these things that our adults' minds can't, or are at least less likely to perceive. Like, it takes a pretty powerful manifestation for us to notice as adults, but kids will have robust conversations with unseen beings. I think this could be an example of that. So let's check it out. Here you go. And many of you might have already seen this. It's pretty crazy, though. That was me looking for my pajamas. I hope you found them, Eric. No naked sleeping around here. Just saying. All right, here we go. This is the video. And I'm going to play the sound because you got to hear this kid.
Night 2.
Let me re-cue that up. Hold on a sec. Oh, damn it. What did I do? What did I do? Oh, no, I did it. I might have screwed it up again. Oh, come on, Facebook. You can do better than this. That reel is out there. I know that's out there. I just had it queued up. I should have just played it. I just wanted it to start because it was already a little started. Dear God. Let me refresh. Come on, come on, come on.
Who are you saying goodnight to?
Good night.
Who?
Good night.
Jagger, there's no one up there.
Who's up there?
Show me.
Who's up there?
That's so creepy.
Jagger, there's no one up there.
That is so creepy.
He's been talking to that vent and then he was blowing it kisses. And I'm creeped out now. Like, seriously, I'm not joking. I'm so creeped out right now.
Oh, this is another. I didn't know there was another part to this. This is from a horror short video channel on Facebook, and I do want you guys to check them out too. I didn't know there was more after that. I was just queuing it up for that kid. Flicking lights. There could certainly be someone out of screen flicking a light switch, and then they all turn at the same time. That looks staged.
But what the hell is that? Why is it wrinkling like that? Like somebody's pushing it. And then that looked like a face.
Yeah, that's a little weird. I don't know. I don't know if it's legitimate or not. Let's see. I bet she pulls the curtain. And nothing.
Made it to the Appalachian Mountains. So far, no skin.
Okay, that one's fake. Let me see if I can pause this. That one's fake because that scream has been used like everywhere. I think the first time I heard that was from the mushroom guy collecting mushrooms and then hearing that scream and like, nope, I'm gone. That one's been on a lot of videos. I think it's just been dubbed in on a whole bunch of different videos. So this is more a collection of videos. I thought I was just pulling up the little boy catching that vent spirit, spirit of the vent. I don't know what he's talking to, but he's seeing something up there. Yeah. Why tell a child your reality isn't real? Exactly. I think that's the hard part. Hi Kong Kong Poatan Sabau Unk. Is that a greeting? I don't know those words, but hello to you over on Twitch. Good to see you over there. Thank you so much for coming in. But this is a collection of really cool videos, but this is horror short videos, and I'm going to just copy the link and put it in the chat if anybody wants to go check out the rest of whatever this video has. This may have been the last part anyway. I don't know. But I don't want to go through every one of them. I didn't realize it was a compilation. But there you go. If you have Facebook, you can go check that out. Was that Bigfoot? Was what Bigfoot? The one with the baby seems real, maybe real to me. It seems the baby's actually seeing something. Could be an angel. Could be. I mean, it could be a lot of things. We don't know what the child is seeing, but it doesn't seem emotionally damaged by it. Like children, if they see something scary, will react organically. Like, that looks weird. I don't like it. Get me away. But that child is not reacting that way. So whatever that child is seeing to the child looks pleasant. You know, they know when something looks nice versus when something looks scary. A lot of times, not consistently. Like they'll go up and pet a dog that's definitely growling and going, hey, get the hell away from me. What are you doing? You know, they don't make the best choices in that regard. But if something looks evil, they won't be like, hi, how are you doing? Like they'll be like, mommy. Like when the minion was a baby. I've told this story before. Sorry, I got to adjust. I'm getting sweaty underwear in the studio. It's not comfortable. But when the minion was a baby in this house, he was never afraid to walk in any room, ever. Just walk right in, light, dark, didn't matter. He had no fear of it until suddenly he did. And he was actually in this room. Before this was bedroom. And he walked in and the living room was right next to us here. Let me pull my camera over. Whoops, no, that. Shoot. Let me go back to here. He was right in the living room. And then he ran into this room, which he'd done 100 times before. And suddenly he ran out and said, monster, 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 monster. Now, he only had a few words at this time, like his really young vocabulary, like a 1.5-year-old. He was walking and exploring, but he said monster, monster. And I didn't know what that means. It says, is there a monster in there? I said, do you want me to go in there with you? Yes. So first, initially, I was going to go, oh, there's no monster in there. But I was like, no. He saw something that scared him. I have to remember that. And I don't fault parents for doing that. I think you're just trying to assuage your children's fears. You're trying to make them feel safe and calm. But we have to recognize that they may be able to see a lot that we can't see. So when they say monster, treat it like it's something that is in there and let them know that they can trust what they're seeing and feeling. Don't tell them, no, there's nothing, because then it's like, wait, I know there's something. And you're telling them not to believe in themselves or believe themselves. Now, kids have very creative imaginations, but this is a 1.5-year-old child. This isn't a kid that's making stuff up. So I said, do you want me to go in there with you? He said, yes. So he grabbed my hand and pulled, and I got up off the couch and came in here, and we looked around. I said, do you see the monster here? And he goes, no. It's not here now? He goes, no. I said, okay. And then we talked to the monster, and I told the monster that it was absolutely not okay to make my child feel afraid in his own home, and that was not going to be okay. And never saw a monster again. Now, I didn't know what that was. I didn't know what he saw. I didn't know. He wasn't able to articulate it at all. So it wasn't until we were at Walmart shopping, maybe several weeks later, and in a bin at Walmart, they had these those chair backs and arms that you put on your bed, and it's like a fluffy armrest and backrest to put on your bed while you read or whatever. Well, they had a bin of those. And then there was one black fluffy one with like this fluffy, furry stuff all over it. And he looked at it and his eyes got big. He goes, monster, monster, monster. And I was like, oh, so he saw a big black mass that made him afraid. So that's how I put it together. That's what he saw. So it was a freaky experience. So anyway, this has been...
The hell is that?
Okay, thank you, Jose. I appreciate it. Your UFO sighting, thank you. All right, so we got the Cryptid Corner. By God, we got to get to that because we're running out of time. We're running out of time, folks. Sorry. I've been talking a lot more lately, and I'm sorry about that. Here we go. I think we did this one. Yeah, we did that one. I forgot to close it. Here we go. All right, here we go. It's time for the next part, which is this. I'll give you a couple stories, I promise. So you get some Cryptid Corner in here. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it is time for the Cryptid Corner. And by God, I'm going to deliver. We're going to start with SasquatchChronicles.com, ladies and gentlemen, the blog. Wes's blog. And I love the listener emails he posts. He posts a lot of great stuff over there. So please check it out. Wes is always updating this. It's very current and incredibly well done. So this one's from June 30th. It's been open for a while here, but we're going to get to it not now. Oh, this is an audio report. Maybe not this one then. I will put a link to this one though, because this is an AYR, Australian Yowie Research. This is Dean Harrison's group. And Dean Harrison does amazing work over there in Australia. An exceptional guy. I've known Dean for years and just really impressed with him and what they're doing over there. Of course, I have a lot of wonderful friends over in Australia and absolutely thrilled to be associated with them. So check that out. There's the link for checking this out because there is a video to watch. And it's a Yowie sighting from the Alcoa wetlands. I'll read the first part. Yowie Hunters Witness Reports writes, we received many requests for more Yowie reports from Western Australia and obviously from Western Australians. And this is a good report not far from our Jarradale number 8181 sighting. The exception is Adam observed the golden rule during this encounter. The nameless dread is also experienced. An interesting aspect of this is Adam wasn't affected by the first Yowie. It was the second that had the profound impact. That's weird. I wonder if that's has everything to do with intention. Like maybe the second one was the more protective alpha, and the first one was maybe a female, maybe a juvenile male, or less, maybe more inquisitive or curious. And maybe the alpha was like, no, get the hell away. So I haven't heard it myself, but I'm going to save that for me to listen to later. We're going to go to June 30th from Sasquatch Chronicles blog. Sounded like an elephant crashing through the woods. Now, I've not heard this sound personally. I've heard twigs popping like something was coming and brush popping, but not like an elephant charging it. And you know that whatever's doing it has to be pretty big. A listener writes, I would like to remain anonymous. Being in my field work, I am in corporate aviation and I have an encounter I'd like to share with you and your fans, being my wife and I are big fans of your show. This is my story. Even though I didn't have a face-to-face, the incident was very confusing and somewhat terrifying. During the summer of 2020, we were golfing at a course, so near lots of woods and a few ranches. It is Texas. We got to the back nine on the 14 hole, which way in the back, if you will, furthest from the clubhouse. Pretty remote and circled by thick woods and cedar trees. Well, we tee off near the wood line and proceed down the fairway, and we make it onto the green of that hole, and out of nowhere, we hear this giant crashing sound, like that of a slow stomping elephant, and we all just froze and stared in the direction of the noise. I was waiting for an elephant to come out of the other side, and the greatest thing is this crashing in the woods sound was bipedal. Slow, giant steps. It lasted about 2 minutes and then went quiet. We all stared at each other and no one said a word. I said, F that. I know you all heard that. Excuse my delivery. My friend Joe just stared at his putt and muttered, yep. The following summer, same course, same time, around sundown, exact same location, and we hear the exact same all over again. That's crazy, the same course. So it sounds like there's some resident back there that likes to get some attention. That's really creepy. Wow. Very wild. All right. So cool encounter. Not a lot to it, but again, most sightings or most experiences are very much like that. Here we got a June 30th Australian encounter, and the listener writes, I'll condense this email, and I'd be happy to have a call with you at some point to discuss if you're interested. I'm not too good at putting speech to text, so a conversation over the phone or what's not would be the greatest for me to discuss this greater depth. I'm 27 now and had an encounter with something when I was about 15 or 16, so 2013, 2014, on our school holidays with a friend of mine. We used to go camping and fishing at a place called Borumba Dam on the northern Sunshine Coast hinterlands in the Mary Valley. We'd be camping at this location since I was 12 years old. It's a dam that runs into a creek called Yaba Creek, and around the area is very dense forest with small townships every 20 to 30 kilometers. I'd been camping here and fishing the creeks and dam with my family and friends for many years as I'd grown up around the area. I no longer live there and have moved some 9 to 10 hours away. Walking through the bush and fishing the dam with steep mountains and forest around, you were always exposed, and it was a very eerie place to be, but the freshwater sports fishing and camping was fantastic and a very, very beautiful place. Well, anyway, we're camping one school holiday in summer, November to December. Remember, this is Australia. Their summers are our winters. We decided to go for a fish at night and at the spillway where the dam well was, and the water leads to the creek below. Cicadas loud, birds chirping, the sun had just gone down, 7:30 roughly. And we were fishing for Australian bass, whom love to eat cicada lures from the surface, and in summer, it was perfect for a late afternoon night fishing. We head off to the spillway way, and it was dark, but a clear night and almost full moon. Small amount of wind and just a very nice evening. We get to the spillway and there's a clearing where you can stand and cast into the water. Across from the spillway on the other side is forest. And whereas we were on the clearing side to our left is more forest, not as dense. Up a hill to look out and the road leading to the dam camp area and boat ramp. My mate and I are fishing, and like I said, small breeze, cicadas being loud, and fish eating insects on top of the water. We were fishing for about 10 to 15 minutes, and within a split second, it was dead quiet. The cicadas stopped. The breeze died, and it was very, very strange. I felt extremely strange and a little anxious and worried. I turned to my left. From me to the dam wall was about 50 meters, and on my right was my friend. And when I turned left, about 20 to 30 meters away from me, I saw in the moonlight on the clearing a large figure, and I could not make out any feature of the face or hair or anything. It was a perfect shadow in the moonlight of a human-like figure with long arms, wide shoulders, and about 8 to 9 feet tall. I froze, staring at this thing, and I was absolutely terrified. Whatever it was just stood there, extremely still, as I stared at it. There's nothing on the clearing besides rocks on the ground in the forest to the left of us. I half thought it was a tree or tree shadow from the moonlight and tried calming myself down. After about 10 to 15 seconds of looking at this thing, it turned to its right and walked into the forest, gliding. No swaying of the arms or something looked like it was floating, and it was fast to a degree. I saw this for about 2 seconds before I turned around to my mate and said, "We're leaving. I just saw something." He was hesitant and come with me. We made it back to camp, which is about 1 kilometer away, and I divulged what I saw, and he said he didn't see anything. And all he said was, it was probably a shadow. Could have been anything. It was something along those lines. I don't really remember it, as I was about 10 to 12 years ago now. I had been back there fishing since with no issues or anything, but it just feels strange, and it always has since I was a young child. Fast forward to now, and I haven't told anyone this up until this year, where my work colleague, the one who put me onto your show, was chatting to me about this, and I never made it heads or tails over this situation until I told him. We were talking about the strange things that happen in the world. And when I told him, he was shocked and told me he believed me and had been through similar things. Funny enough, this work colleague lives in a town away from where I live now, 9 to 10 hours from the Sunshine Coast. But he also grew up on the Sunshine Coast hinterland. When he revealed his encounters with me and told me stories his father and friends told him, it all made sense. He told me to watch your show and showed me the video with Claire, and I was shocked. Everything somewhat made sense to me now. I never really heard of Bigfoots or just what you see on Facebook with memes and funky stories. But when I started your show, I became very, very intrigued about it. Even though in Australia they're called Yowies. They are Mary Valley I told you about, especially at Barumba Dam and surrounding areas, is huge for strange things like planes going down, UFO sightings, which I believe I've had one there also, at the same campgrounds. Towns like Imbil, Kandanga, Amamaroor, with stories I've heard from my grandparents and my mom about the area having strange things happen. I've decided to reach out today as I want to give you my story and see if it were any interest to you. I've tried to compile this the best I can, but I'm a talker, not a writer. Yeah, fascinating story. Very cool. Oops. Well,
What the hell is that?
may as well let it play. Forgot to shut it off again. There you go, folks. Yeah, cool stories. We did a little bit over time, a few minutes. Hope that's okay. But I hope you guys had a good time. I always love doing these shows, and I love hanging out with you guys and seeing what we can discover together. I can't wait for Phantoms and Monsters to come back up again. It's kind of gotten, Lon's doing a big workover for his whole site. So that's why we haven't been hitting Phantoms and Monsters for stories lately. But we'll get back to it as soon as we can. Excellent stories and conversation tonight, Brent. Well, thank you, Rachel. I appreciate it. Great show as always. Thank you, Phil. Good night, everyone. Take care. Good night to you, Owl. Great to see you. And I hope you guys have a great rest of your weekend, whatever you're doing. Make sure to enjoy yourselves and have a good time. And I'll be back Wednesday. Remember, Shane Grove of From the Shadows podcast will be joining me, so we'll get into that on Wednesday. Can I ask you how Mr. Longbeard is doing? You know, I haven't talked to Don in forever, so I'm not sure how he's doing. I hope he's doing wonderful. I see some of the postings on Facebook and stuff, but I know his life is crazy busy and my life is crazy busy, so I really haven't talked to Don for quite a while, but of course we miss him and love him and wish him the best. And I hope he's doing wonderful. But you can certainly reach out to him on Facebook. He's got a Don Longbeard page, and so you can reach out and get in touch with him. Ask him for yourself, or, reach out to him some other way. I don't know. Maybe from the Aether Archives YouTube page, he might respond to you there. But yeah, I mean, Don's a great guy. He was been a friend for a long, long time. I'm just not good at keeping up with people. I get this tunnel vision, and it's just, my days are filled with a series of tasks and responsibilities, and I forget to just make phone calls and stuff. So it's really one of the things that I'm worst at in this lifetime is staying in touch. I'm just not good at it. And it's not because I don't care. It's just, I don't know, I get tunnel vision, and I think about how I have to spend my time just to keep up. So, but we love Don and his family, and I'm sure everything's fine. At least I hope so. But no, I don't know. I haven't talked to him. So, but do reach out to him. I know he'd love to hear from you guys. If you guys want to know how Don's doing, catch him over on Facebook. It's Don Longbeard. You can find his page, and I think it's Don Longbeard. Maybe it's Aether Archives. Might be Aether Archives on Facebook. I don't remember. It's names, words. You know how my mind works. Anyway, that's all I got for you tonight. I hope you guys will come back on Wednesday. Join me as I host Shane Grove of From the Shadows podcast, and we'll dive into what he's been up to and the stuff they've been covering, and we'll talk to him. So until next time, y'all take care. Remember, we love you all. Be good, be kind, be nice. Take care of each other. Help each other out. Find the magic in every day, and remember to laugh as much as you can. And I'll talk to you on Wednesday. No new podcast this week. Again, I'm still on hiatus before I start season 7. There was like 57 episodes to season 6. I'm always doing more than 52. So there's lots of back episodes to listen to. If you haven't caught them all, check out the podcast. Check out all the episodes. And I'll talk to you guys next time. Hi, Lisa Marie. I didn't see you come in, but great to see you. Thank you so much. And good night to you. So everybody take care. Have a great rest of your weekend. And I'll be here to open the portal on Wednesday. See you then. Good night, everybody.